Hello and welcome to another podcast. I'm Kate, as mentioned, founder of Nutrition Queensland and Healthy Little Eaters, because everyone deserves to be healthy. So welcome to this next episode, and it's going to be all about sugar, because it's a biggie, and unfortunately we just can't get away with eating it like we used to in our teens and in our 20s, just because our bodies go through immense changes and we just can't get away with it like we used to. And such a common statement that I hear from a lot of my clients is actually, but I never used to have to worry about my weight, or I never used to have to think about what I ate. I was just naturally thin. And yeah, it works beautifully, as I said, in our 20s and our teens, even up to our 30s, it can be absolutely no problem. But we get to that 40 mark or that over 40 mark and massive changes within our body, and we almost get like railroaded with hormonal changes, our metabolism changes, our muscle mass changes, and the body kind of says no. So I thought in this episode I'd actually talk about the importance of watching your sugar intake as we get older, and also our starch intake. I tread carefully using the word carbohydrate and carbs because broccoli and those non-starchy vegetables are also carbohydrates. There's beautiful carbohydrates in fruit. But starches are the foods that are really going to break down and released as sugar when we consume them. And they're things like breads, pasta, rice, a lot of beans and legumes. Although they are lower GI, they will break down slower. They're still considered starches. So yeah, that's what this topic is going to be about, how we can swap our diet around and actually choose foods that are going to naturally help prevent our sugar cravings, because it's nothing worse than being told you're not allowed to have something, or putting yourself on a really strict diet when you're not actually changing your eating habits around and the different foods you're eating. And it can be super difficult, and to be honest, you may not get the results that you want because you'll just cave, because you don't have enough willpower to sustain it. So some of the top foods, I'm going to go through 6 of them, and what you might notice is there's a trend happening, and these foods are quite high in fats. And that's one thing I'm really passionate about, is helping especially women realize that, don't be afraid of fats. Fats will actually make you thinner. It's the sugars and the carbohydrate, the starches that are going to make you put the weight on, not the fat. So number 1, we have a beautiful piece of salmon. So salmon's really high in omega-3s, and it's full of protein, and that's what we have to make sure we're having as adults, is actually enough protein, especially as we get older, because it will curb the sugar and carbohydrate starch cravings. So we've got salmon up there. You do really want to find a good quality piece of salmon, and I totally understand that getting wild caught is really expensive, but obviously it's definitely worth it. And there are companies now that deliver wild caught salmon to your door. But even going to like your local seafood butcher, local seafood shop, I still think it's going to be better than going to a Woolies. So yeah, grab some good quality salmon. Another great fish is mackerel. It's beautiful, high in beautiful fats as well. So obviously seafood is up there. Number 2 is we actually have avocado, really full of potassium, and that's naturally going to help curb your sugar cravings. When we're depleted in potassium and magnesium, which I feel a lot of people in the population are, just because of the food quality and just not getting enough good quality nutrients in. So avocados are really high in potassium, and that's naturally going to help curb it. And of course, they're really high in beautiful fat. So if you add like a half an avocado even just to your breakfast, it'll radically shape the rest of your day. It's really, really cool. There's actually studies that showed that women, or just anyone who ate a whole avocado a day, actually lost more weight than those who didn't. So avocados are really, really great, and I would suggest adding them into your day, or at least into your week if you're not having them. You can make beautiful things like guacamole, dip in some veggies and things like that. There's plenty of ways to get beautiful avocado, and if you don't mind the thought of it, you can chuck it into a smoothie. It's absolutely beautiful. Then we have nuts, things like walnuts, Brazil nuts, again, really high in those beautiful fats and omega-3s, full of vitamins, really, really good for your brain. If you've ever noticed, a little walnut actually looks like your brain and it's been shown to help cognitive function. So walnuts are really, really great. Pecans are really high in vitamin E, which is beautiful for our skin and things like that. So you're much better off, rather than going for a handful of chips or lollies or even dried fruit, which is really high in sugar, you're better off just grabbing a handful of nuts or something like that. And Brazil nuts are also really high in selenium, which is really, really important for our thyroid and as we get older and things like that. Then we have dark chocolate, which is awesome because I'm not going to lie, I love a good piece of chocolate. And it's just another way to make life a bit more fun, not super restrictive, but it's way better as we get older to choose the 70% cacao rather than like the Cadbury's. It's just loaded with sugar and it's just going to wreck your hormones and wreck your mood and your blood sugar level, which is so important and something that I absolutely love to talk about. Another one is olive oil. Olive oil is a beautiful oil to have over your salads and just to use instead of the seed oil. So ditch the canola oil, the vegetable oil, and the sunflower oil. I wouldn't even fry in these oils. They just cause so much inflammation in our body, and that's really what we want to combat when we get older, is the inflammation that happens because when we go through menopause or perimenopause, our body actually becomes in a pro-inflammatory state because we're getting railroaded with all these different changes and hormones and things like that. So you really want to steer clear of inflammatory foods, and those seed oils are. So just switch it for olive oil and make sure you actually add it to your salads. So a lot of salads and stuff like that contain fat-soluble vitamins, which means when you actually eat them with fat, your body can absorb the vitamins and minerals so much more. So it's like a win-win, really. Put butter on your broccoli and things like that. And of course, one of my absolute favorite is eggs, and I have them every single day. I'll usually have 2 or 3 eggs depending what I've done in the morning. If I've gone up the hill or done like a gym workout, I'll come home and have 3 eggs. They're just a powerhouse. It radically changed my life when I stopped having like oats and smoothies and things like that and swapped it for more good quality dense foods. So there's actually about 6 grams of protein per 1 egg. So that's why I say don't be afraid to have 2 or 3. And also don't be afraid of the yolk. That's where absolutely all the goodness is and the healthy fat. And eggs contain choline, which is just a powerhouse for our body. It's really, really cool. So yeah, eggs in the morning, avocado in the morning, super simple. You could just have eggs and avocado in the morning, a little bit of fruit. Absolutely perfect. As I said, swap your Cadbury chocolate to more of like maybe a Lindt 70%. It's going to have a little less sugar in it, which is going to be super beneficial. Swap your chips or your dried fruit or things like that just for a handful of nuts. Swap your oils to olive oil, and again, don't be afraid to just add it over your salad or your veggies. Absolutely beautiful. And then have a piece of salmon once a week. Get some good quality salmon once or twice a week. Absolutely perfect. And so it's those high fatty foods that we've been told to fear that are actually going to radically transform your body and your life. It's going to actually help your waist to shrink. It's going to make you happier, get rid of the brain fog, and it's just an absolute game changer. So the key really is, as we get older, we really have to be conscious of our sugar intake. The labeling and marketing out there is horrendous. Things that are, they'll say gluten-free, natural, it doesn't mean anything. So it's a really good idea to learn how to read labels. There's 4 grams of sugar in 1 teaspoon. So if something says 12 grams of sugar per serve, just think that's 3 teaspoons of sugar you're having. So it's so easy to incidentally eat a bunch of sugar. And then you top it off at night with pasta or rice or some bread with your sandwich, and it's just bombarding your body. And this is the problem. We're getting the type 2 diabetes, we're getting the insulin resistance, which I'll talk about on another episode. Yeah, it's causing so much havoc. So it's not the fats, guys. It's really not the meats, it's the sugars and the starches. And of course, I'm a big advocate of having plenty of fiber as well, from beautiful non-starchy veggies and salads and things like that. And I'm not afraid of fruit. I love fruit. I think it's beautiful. I live in North Queensland, and we have some of the best fruit, I reckon. So that is today's topic. So be sure to be a little bit conscious. Are you popping some of the 6 foods in your trolley? Are you swapping them out? Are you making sure you have big, beautiful meals so that you don't need to snack? That's another huge one as we get older. We don't need to snack. We're not babies. I promise you, the hardest part is just starting. If you can start and focus on the long-term results and not the short-term results, it'll change your life, and really quickly as well. The people that I work with notice changes really, really quickly. So I'll leave it there. I can't wait to speak to you on the next episode, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining me. My dream is to inspire you to be in charge of your own health and body, to bring back your mojo and have the confidence to stand up for all that you are and all that you believe in. So with me by your side, let's go.